My name is A Mighty Beard, and we are here for another behind-the-scenes look. This is a DM prep, where we are recording this about an hour or so before we go live on the live stream. That's right, we record every episode of our Agents of Beard sessions live on the YouTube channel, so you can subscribe, be notified anytime we go live for that. We usually try to schedule about 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time, but it varies, but you'll be notified anytime we go live. And also all of those streams are also put onto the podcast channel, so you can listen as well. But yes, we are going to be prepping this upcoming session. Again, we're about an hour-ish away. And yeah, this session is called The Fortunate Son Part 2. And it is going to be here on Storm Island. All right, so first of all, let's go ahead and get our party situated. So we're going to have Mora and Shinichi, Swamp, and Draco. So again, this is part 2. So luckily, we already have a lot of our maps and situations set up. We're just going to be reviewing it to refresh myself, but also kind of walk through that process of what it is to prep. And then once you watch the live stream, you can see how things actually played out. But let's first go with some reminders. So where we left off, let's go ahead and pull up that map. All right, so where we had left off, the party had just left Sedund. They took the day journey on a boat on the Dawn Chaser, and they had already seen the shipwreck. So their goal for the second part of the last session, and then this part of this session, is to board the ship as well, and find out if there's any supplies that can be picked up and taken, as well as locate any survivors and really see what happened, what caused this shipwreck. Now, Storm Island, it is it's that's not actually what it's called. That's just what the sailors call it, because anytime that sailors pass this part of the continent, there is just storms, and it oftentimes knocks ships off course. And so, yeah, a majority of the traffic is either coming from Easton or Sedun, but it's going from Easton to Sedun or vice versa. And yeah, so they located the ship as they were passing, heading into Sedund. So now it's just the backwards. They're just going back to now go to the ship. So where we last left off is it's been super foggy, and they took a small rowboat, just because it's known that there are reefs here, and this is generally an avoided area by ships because of those reefs, because they can get stuck. So they boarded a small rowboat and took that about I want to say 1,000 feet or so from their ship to this one. And once they got here, they had found that it was already being raided by a party of gnolls. Now, the fog did catch the eye of our druid, so Swamp, and she cast Detect Magic just to see if there's any magic that can be attributed to all this fog. Didn't find any magic, but she had turned herself into a spider just to get up onto the ship to do a bit more scouting. So the reminder is that as the magic detection begins to fade, Swamp will see an outline of a magical item. Now, this magical item, it's going to be a necklace that's currently being worn by this knoll right here in the center of the ship, who is currently going through bags and getting things situated. So besides the 4 gnolls, they also are hearing sounds of undead. Basically, there's sounds of something punching wood, punching the door. It's the same general sound that they heard at the gatehouse in Sedan when the gatehouse was being sieged by undead. So they made that, you know, that connection. So they think that there's undead on this ship, and the undead have been trapped because the gnolls had trapped them in. As far as our start, we're going to roll initiative. That's going to be the first thing that we're going to do, because basically the spider, so Svamp, is already up on the ship, and the rest of the party was in process of starting to make that journey to climb up with the intentions of taking out the gnolls. The gnolls, as far as our lore, based on the suggestion from our captain, Captain Brander, suggested to take out the gnolls and recover anything that they were trying to steal. All right, so we're going to have the initial fight with the 4 gnolls, and I'm going to say 2 rounds later, the undead that are being trapped are going to break through and begin to fight, and really they're gonna fight with anything. So they'll fight the gnolls, they'll fight the party. It's just a matter of who's standing closer at the top of that second round. All right, and again, this is our we already have quite a few of this stuff already planned. So I can copy and paste, which is nice. But okay, the Fortunate Son is going to be our first scene. So again, that initial fight, and then searching around through the bags to see what has been recovered so far, investigating to see if there's any sign of survivors, that sort of thing. So searching through the bags and the bodies of the gnolls, they're going to find a leather strap with a stone medallion. Quartz is going to be embedded into it, and that quartz is making a symbol of lightning rod coming out of a storm cloud. And that actually is an item. We'll go ahead and drag that over. That is the Necklace of Storms. So yeah, it is it's a custom magic item I put together. It's got that quartz making the symbol, but when you're attuned, you've got 6 charges, and you can spend those charges on things like Fog Cloud, Gust of Wind, Thunder Wave, Call Lightning, Lightning Bolt, and Control Weather. Control Weather is the most expensive one, which costs 4 charges. But with Control Weather, that allows you to alter the conditions, the temperature, the speed of the wind, basically by 1 step. So if it's clear, you can change it to light clouds. If it's warm, you can change it to hot or cool. Again, if it's a gale or storm, you can shift that to not be as strong. But yeah, they'll also find some coins. All the weapons are pretty rusted. They're in poor condition. They got some basic food supplies. The ship is also going to have some supply cargo in crates and barrels, and that is what was being delivered from Sedund to Easton, which was the initial point of the Fortunate Son. What it was trying to accomplish. There's going to be 2 rowboats. Usually there's 2 rowboats for this type of ship, because this is basically the same ship as the Dawn Chaser, but they're going to be missing. And the captain, once the ship is cleared and they can start making an inventory, the captain will be focused in on taking supplies from this ship back to the Dawn Chaser. So she'll instruct the party to go ahead and take the rowboat that has been left by the gnolls and take it to shore and see if they can locate any survivors there. The undead will have identifying marks on them, like items and whatnot, that would suggest that they were crew members. All right, so based on that, locations and connections, we can drag over our initial one. So our undead plot point that's happening. So the undead sieges that are happening periodically in Sedund. There was a connection made in Hovestad is Sinking Part 2 to that as well. And kind of, sort of, I guess there was also a connection made to the Mayoral Escort Part 3, because they found animated dead that were scribing the birth and death of all residents, all peoples of the continent. So yeah, that's a good connection there. Okay, our next scene is going to be campsite on Storm Island. And also, I'm trying to add times here. I'm very bad at estimating time, so I'm trying to like put something down, and seeing if I could follow through with it. So I went 60 and 90 minutes, and that's only because potentially we've got a fight with. Well, I mean, we definitely have a fight with 4 gnolls. We also have a fight with 4 undead. So based on 5e combat, that's at least probably an hour of that fight. So but yeah, 60 to 90 minutes to do the fight, as well as go through all the supplies and transfer rowboats and head to Storm Island. All right, so Storm Island, once they arrive, they're gonna find a bit of a campsite. I'm looking for maybe 15 minutes of just going through the campsite. And again, we're gonna copy and paste from our old notes, which is nice. But yeah, the campsite, it's going to have spots for maybe about 15 people. So you've got the 4 undead that were on the ship, plus an additional 15 people, which would kind of make up the quota of crew that you need. On top of that, there were, I want to say, I think we said 2 survivors that the Dawn Chaser initially picked up and was made aware of the shipwreck in the first place. So yeah, campsite, spots for maybe 15 people. Just personal effects, food supplies. There's 2 rowboats here, which would match what should have been on the ship. We've got some flags here, kind of SOS flags, if anyone passed by and saw them. But the main thing they're going to find is footprints leading from this campsite up north. But yeah, I really don't see anything else that we need to do here. It's just going to be information gathering, knowing that a majority of the sailors survived, and they were they set up camp. They started cutting down trees, setting up campfires, spread out their tents and whatnot, and we're attempting to survive here until someone could pick them up. But most of them, if not all of them that were here, traveled up north, which will take us to a cave. So the cave on Storm Island, again, we're going to be shooting for 60 to 90 minutes. But following the footprints will lead the party to a cave. Inside the cave, they'll find the remains of 2 dead sailors. And so yeah, once they arrive, they don't have a lot of vision, but they can walk in. But yeah, they're gonna see 2 dead sailors that are just laying on the ground, beginning to rot. Right now. Again, I had prepped this without any concept of how things were going to play out. So the initial thought was that they were going to board the ship at the end of last session and handle that fight, and then once they get here, would be having a lot of opportunities for combat and exploration. I think this is where we'll put into play the D6 rolls. So again, we have kind of like fate rolls at the start of a session to determine not necessarily outcomes. It doesn't directly affect the session as a whole, but it will either help or cause a detriment to things that will occur. So on a 6, that means like someone's looking out for you. So we'll have maybe they'll find extra information that would normally require a roll to see, or if they rolled like it might lower the DC for those types of rolls, or they might find like caches of health potions or that sort of thing. On a 1, it's the opposite. It's like worst case scenario happens. So this first room, we had we're going to show that there's two dead sailors. On the bodies of those sailors, or at least in their hands or nearby, are going to be shards of this quartz. Again, kind of depending on what takes place. I've got crystal golems here, and basically they're the big quartz crystals that are on the ground, and I'd like for them to come alive and attack. Now they're not beefy at all. They're CR3, so they got AC of 16, 30 hit points. Should be okay. I've got 3 of them, but I don't think we'll need all 3. But we'll see. We'll see how things play out. And how long they spend in this room. But yeah, I mean the goal is that there's going to be a few things. The first thing is we want to show that sailors look weakened already. So maybe they didn't venture off into the cave for a week or 2 after they were wrecked, or something, or maybe we tie into the undead. Because we had the 4 undead sailors on the ship, so maybe there's something here that is causing them to be sick. So we kind of want to show that they've been weakened in some fashion. The other thing is we want to make it clear that the cave is protecting itself. So having the crystal golems already attack and kill some of these sailors, I think, is a good sign that they need to be on guard. Now, the next room is more of a fun, interesting thing, but just kind of illustrating how quartz and other minerals and natural things are working together in the goal of protecting this place. So no dead bodies, and maybe the sailors didn't have any coins on them when they entered, but the second room, we're going to we're basically gonna have any coins that they're carrying animate and attack the party. So I think every member of the party except for Draco has coins on them. So once they enter in here, the coins are gonna kind of start to pull themselves out of purses and backpacks and attack. Again, we might roll the d6 to determine if this room, if we in fact do this. But at the same time, how many are going? But again, armor class is 15. They've only got 5 hit points, so all are pretty one-shottable. Just CR 1-4. But again, just to cause the party again to be mindful that that this is a weird place. And it is attempting to defend itself. Now, I didn't place any tokens in this hallway, but my thought is when they're going through this part of the hallway, we'll just have kind of strewn about more dead sailors, just again to illustrate the danger. Also illustrate the weaknesses of the sailors. They probably didn't have weapons on them, or at least high-powered weapons. They're just laborers for all intents and purposes. They're not your standard adventurers. But once they enter into this room, or at least start passing by, they're gonna see more dead sailors. These ones, though, are gonna be a bit different. They're gonna be crushed. So we've got one sailor that is underneath a boulder, another one that probably will show a lot of head trauma, another one that looks like his legs are all busted and broken. Again, a little bit of a visual warning that if they actually enter into this room, things are going to occur. I should backtrack because this is actually important. That first room, if they take out any of the quartz golems, those quartz golems will drop pieces of quartz, so they'll kind of not necessarily explode, but just collapse, and so they'll have roughly 20 pieces of quartz per golem we have. So I've got a price of 20 gold per. So a nice hoard of treasure that they could walk away from this place with. But the that's not the motivation that they'll find out. They'll find out that those things could actually be used later on in the cave. But the same thing in this room. They're going to find a lot of quartz that has been dug up or carried. Yeah, the dead sailors will all have quartz around them. In here, probably 100 gold worth of quartz crystals in this room that have already been gathered. But yes, if they do enter in, we've got these rolling stones, which are like little mini B.E.A.R.Ds. And again, the crystal golems, that could be a hard battle. The ship itself could be a hard battle. So also fighting these guys, we're starting to creep into potential deadly situation. But their goal is to crush anyone that comes in. All right, now I am going to make an adjustment to this room because initially I had a room in here, but ultimately I feel like this session could go long. And also I think what I was trying to accomplish with this would be rather confusing. So instead we're gonna take this out. Let's go ahead and close this up, and we'll go ahead and move this over here. So maybe show a cave-in of sorts, and that cave-in would just illustrate that this place is active and trying to take out anyone who enters in. So yeah, show like a recent cave-in, maybe attached to these things. We could maybe again we'll play this one by ear, because after I say that, my thought is maybe they'll try to dig through to see if there's any survivors over there. So if there are any survivors, or I'm sorry, if they do dig through here, they will locate, I don't know, we'll say five survivors that were trapped back here. All right, so yeah, in this room, in room 4, we'll say if they dig through or try to investigate or do anything that would suggest that they're looking for survivors, we'll go ahead and put 5 survivors in there, and then they can take them back to shore, to the campsite, load them up into those rowboats, and then yeah, there's enough rowboats for 5 survivors plus the party of 4 to head back to the main ship. And actually, I really like that concept. I think having survivors would be good. So yeah, maybe we'll lead them to suspect that if they start moving rocks around, maybe they can find some survivors in there. All right, and I want to say once they're passing room 3, depending on what they do, if they enter in, it'll be after they enter in. If they avoid entering in because they see the carnage that has taken place, then I think once they continue to move up the hallway, they'll start to hear a voice of pain. So room 5, what we've got set up is there is a guardian of the cave, which is a large B.E.A.R.D. And Yeah, it is going to be doing a couple things. First of all, it is going to basically yell out, help, help, it hurts, please help, kind of thing. Once they enter in here, they're not going to see any, they're going to see some dead bodies in here. But they're going to see one dead body in particular that is moving around as if it's alive. More of a puppet style. So arms are going to kind of flail, body is going to move around. It's going to actually be like attached to the wall, as this B.E.A.R.D is using it as a front, I guess, to try and get them to help. So yeah, this is going to be more or less a moral test, right? So they can see that the dead body of the sailor is being animated or held up puppet style, and trying to get them to help. If they go and investigate, they'll see that just below the rock arm that is protruding from the wall and going into the back of this sailor, they'll see that basically there's a hole. There's a hole there. We'll probably strew some like miner's picks around here as well, just to show that the sailors were actually in here with miner's picks, and carving out this quartz to take back with them to Easton or wherever it is they're heading, if they got saved. But yeah, they will see damage in the wall. Maybe it is bleeding. Maybe like some liquid is coming out. And yeah, it's just going to say that it's wounded, it's hurt, it needs help. And then depending on what happens is there's a few different resolutions here. Now, again, if the party decides that they want to help, then I'm going to allow them to be creative. Because when I was putting this together, my first thought was the mending cantrip. Picking up crystals, returning the crystals to this hole, and using mending. Unfortunately, none of the party has that. We've got Swamp, who has mold earth. I think mold earth might be a good option for her. We also have Draco, who is our artificer. So Draco has a few different tool sets that he might use here. The other solution that I think would be okay is each of the party member will have healing abilities. So I know Swamp has healing spells. They also all have healing potions, and I think using those to heal the wounds, like having the crystal put back into this hole, and a healing method of some sort being applied. You know, again, pouring potion over it or what have you. I think would suffice here. Again, I'm going to allow them to be creative. There isn't really a solution here that completely makes sense in my mind, so I'll allow them to figure it out. So yeah, the Guardians are going to request their help on healing itself, and they can return the quartz. There's been quartz all over the place, including in this room as well. So they can return it into the wound and then heal it with whatever method they come up with. So obviously, if they go that route, it will be very thankful that they assisted it. It'll let the dead sailor go and continue on protecting the cave as it always has. I think it would also open up some opportunities here for just lore building, which will most likely improv a majority of it. But there's one piece to this that I think would be neat to have, and that is with Swamp. So Swamp has a staff. So looking at Swamp's backstory, she's got a staff that was given to her by her grandfather, and it's just a normal wooden full-length staff, but it has a small yellow crystal or a piece of quartz or some kind of stone. I can't recall if she decided what's going to be there, but yeah, at the tip of of the staff will have this stone, and but she modified it just to show more of it, because previously it had mostly been hidden. So yeah, so she wanted to modify it to show it a bit more, and I think tying into that would be a swell. I mean, again, as of right now, it's just a normal quarterstaff that she's got. So I think one thing I've been toying around with is I can't think of the actual name. I think it was something on DM's Guild, but it was related to kind of like heirloom items. So legendary artifacts, but something that is kind of passed from one generation to the next, and when you get it, it doesn't you don't really understand the significance of it, other than, you know, it has the historical value of going from one generation to the next. But once you actually learn it, and not just attune to it, but actually learn and use it, it grows with you. So it levels with you. Currently they're level 4. So I think by level 5, will initiate this piece of it. But I think, and I still have to figure out what it's actually going to do. But my thought is that this will be one of those legendary heirloom artifacts that, you know, once she reaches level 5, it'll start doing other things. It'll start making itself known to her of what it can actually do. You know, maybe that's spells, or maybe that's blessings or boons. Again, we'll have to figure that out once they get there. But I think because she's native to this land, she's 83 years old, but her family lived here previously. So I think having this guardian recognize the staff, maybe confuse Swamp for her grandfather, and talk it up, like make it seem like it's actually a big deal, and yeah, just begin to communicate, and maybe tell a small story. All right, so secrets and clues. Again, we'll copy and paste, but something on the island or in the water has caused at least 4 crew members to die and become undead. It has begun to infect the other sailors. So again, that's something that we want to show, is that it is infecting them. So there's something here on the island that is turning normal people into undead. The necklace was likely. Okay, actually, I want to change one note here. So you know, we're altering this from session to session. But yeah, I think on the ship we're gonna have one crate that is sealed with a note to take to the Guild of Records in Easton. Okay, so that'll be the crate that has the artifact. Hopefully they don't open it, because I don't know what's in there yet. But I think that'll be a nice connection that they can follow up on later on, like a nice little hook to follow up on. The necklace initially was going to be that artifact, but I think the necklace is just a nice to have. Again, that necklace is the necklace of storms, and freely takeable by them. Now they might want to get it studied by the Guild of Records, but not as necessary at this point. But I do see this later on having to do with one of our story arcs, again, that's going on in the background, but that is the destruction of the continent. How is the necklace related? And again, as far as the undead, yeah, is there something on the island that's infecting people? But yes, one other point that I want to stress here which was the entire cave scene. But basically that the continent is alive, it is hurting, and it is fighting back. So the storms on Storm Island could be related to that. The curse of the undead could be related to that, and obviously things animated and coming to life like the quartz golems and the rolling boulders, all part of that. So yeah, something that's happening on the continent, it is causing it to hurt. In the most literal sense here, it is people attacking it by mining and taking stuff that doesn't belong to them. The continent is fighting back from that. And then obviously the staff that Svamp holds, it's very powerful, and she will need to learn its abilities with due time. So again, maybe that's something that we begin the conversation with in this session, and we start pushing that further once they level up to level 5, which would be after this session. Also, just so we have quick access, we'll go ahead and add Sedund as well as Storm Island to our connections. And then another connection that I think I'll want to push with the conversation with the Guardian is that Svamp's grandfather was a member of an ancient, or well, not ancient, but I mean, maybe ancient to these party members. But basically was a member of Druidic force. I think adding the teachers to this. So was her grandfather a member? Can she become one? Okay. So yeah, the teachers was a Druidic group that were based in Hovestad from what we've learned so far in Hovestad is Sinking Part 1. They found the structure of the teachers, which again, their goal is to protect natural life, that sort of thing. And I'll just add a maybe, because again, I've also got another faction that I think is active, but we really haven't played around with it yet. Is the Emerald Enclave. Now again, that's your standard Druidic faction. Maybe there's a better name that we can come up with, or maybe we just tie it to the teachers, starting from Hovestad is Sinking and moving forward. But yeah, so just a maybe, the Emerald Enclave is involved in this. And again, just taking this list from what they'd find on the Fortunate Son, we'll go ahead and say, yeah, we'll move that into treasure. But also any quartz they take from the cave. Okay, so as far as that last room, that the Guardian is going to request help. Now, if they help the Guardian, then cool stuff happens. They've made a contact, that sort of thing. But I think we should also have in our mind, if for some reason they don't, if they don't do that, if they fight with this thing and kill it, what are the repercussions of that? I don't know. We'll have to think about that. But it's always a possibility, I guess, that they could end up fighting this thing, not helping. And yeah, we'll have to think about how that would work moving forward. For me, I hope that they don't fight with this thing. I hope that the Guardian is able to convince them to help, and they help, and we can progress some of that story further. But you never know. I guess we'll find out. For me, we're going to find out in about 15 minutes. But yeah, that's where we'll leave it. My name's Mighty Beard. It's been a pleasure, and we will play D&D together again very soon. Later.